Welcome to Q&A Mondays here at MH News. I'm your host, Matt Haslam. Now, if you have a question for the show, please send them in to questions@mhnews.info. You can also comment below on Facebook or YouTube, private message me on Facebook, or if you see me in real life, certainly come up and ask me. First question today. As a beginner, should I buy from a pre-made sound library or R and record my own? Well, I would say record your own, only because if you buy from a pre-made place to begin with, if you're a beginner and stuff like that, you probably don't have that big of a budget, and a pre-made sound library is pretty expensive. So, you need to keep the cost in mind, and you don't want to just have this huge sound library that costs you a lot of money and then have to charge a lot right up front as a beginner because you have this added expense that you put on yourself. Just like with Adobe Premiere, you don't want to buy Adobe Premiere at first. It's important to get an editor such as Magic's Video Pro, which cost 80 some, 40 for a student, but 80 some on a regular level. So you want to get something like that at first. Just like with that, I mean, you don't want to buy a $250 item a year and put that burden on yourself to begin with. So, I would definitely make your own sounds, because first off, it's going to be a lot more cost efficient for you. Secondly, you have to keep in mind you're a beginner, and a lot of what beginners do is stuff to learn on their own. And so I would make my own sounds at first and make my own special effects or my own sound effects and stuff like that at first, because you're looking to learn mostly. And if you can make your own sound to begin with, then later on down the road, if you need to, certainly when you have the budget, get a sound library. But at first, it's important to learn how to do it. That way, later on, if one project comes along that doesn't have the budget to have a pre-made sound library, or if a project comes along that needs a brand new sound that isn't in a sound library, then you have the ability and you have the knowledge on how to make your own sound. So I would definitely make my own sounds to begin with. Next question. What's the top 3 most essential things you do to ensure your top results? Well, first off is I make sure that I'm getting a stable shot with my cameras and stuff like that. So I'll use any way I can stabilize that shot, whether it be nothing's handheld. Really nothing at all is handheld anymore. So I'll use a shoulder rig, tripod, jib, slider, whatever. And if I'm using a slider, I'll use 2 tripods for it rather than just one. Basically, the most essential thing that I do is I don't skimp on the different parts of filmmaking, on the gear. I don't skimp on the gear because, if I buy something cheap, then, there are great products. This isn't to say you need some expensive gear, and only expensive gear is good products. I think, for the most part, something could be really cheap. There's products that I use. My stabilizer is only, $20? So, and it works great, So it doesn't have to be expensive to be good. But I think, not skimping on the products is the most essential thing, and making sure I have a stable shot. The second thing would be that I'm not sacrificing good quality audio because of where I'm at. So choosing locations and stuff like that is vital, and that's really essential for me to pick really great locations that are quiet and there's not a lot of noise in the background that I don't have to edit out later. I'm using good microphones. I'm using good audio recorder. And the third most essential thing above all else is really just the experience. For me, having years of experience and doing this, the essential thing for me is just walking on set and, wow, I already know how to do it. And 30 seconds later, I'm like, this is all easy for me now. And I think experience is an essential part of it. First would have to be stabilizing the shot. Second would have to be great audio, and I'm not skimping on the gear. And then third would have to be the experience. But if I'd choose 3 certain pieces of gear, and that's what you mean by this question, then I would say most essential things would have to be my probably the Zoom H4n be number one. Number two would be a GoPro because it can get more places than a DSLR. And the third would be a great tripod. So that would be my three things beyond normal camera gear, I would say. Next question. What's the best technique to shoot a documentary? Honestly, the best way to shoot a documentary is just shoot the hell out of everything. Simple as that. Because you're going to need a lot of footage. You're going to need a lot of B-roll. And documentaries are so freaking hard in editing. So just shoot the hell out of everything. If you only have a couple days on location, and this is kind of what we've done for the documentary we're working on right now called Our Town Orsburg. It's a documentary we're working with PBS and WVIA on right now. It's an hour-long documentary, I think. So the key part in shooting that documentary is a ton of footage. We only had a month on location, so that's not a whole lot of time to shoot a documentary. Documentaries typically take a year or more. So, shoot the hell out of everything. And basically, we just never turned off our camera. And yes, you're going to have a crap load of footage, and I think we had, 500 gigabytes or something like that of footage at the end of the day. It was an awful lot of footage, and it was all HD and plus our audio footage. So you're going to need a lot of footage, and that's the best technique, I would say. Just keep your camera on no matter what, because you're going to use a lot of footage. Same thing with, almost anything. Just keep your camera on no matter what. I mean, at the end of the day, there's between changing sets and stuff like that, I just keep my camera on because, hey, I need behind the scenes stuff too. Because normally when we're doing a documentary, we're going to put a behind the scenes episode, or a couple now with MH News. So I just keep my camera on, and it's just simpler that way. And I think behind the scenes are really a big marketing thing now. I think a lot of people want to see behind the scenes, so I just keep it on. Next question. What should I do with the shots that don't require camera sounds? Should I leave them in there, or should I delete them and replace them with background score? The latter feels really fake and out of place. Basically, this question is asking if you're recording with a camera that doesn't have good microphones, or you're going to replace the audio later on with a background score, or like for a music video kind of thing, where you're going to replace that audio with the studio quality audio later. Then I would always keep audio in there. There's really no... I mean, I know cameras nowadays can turn off the audio and just record video, but even if you're shooting like B-roll stuff, you can always mute the audio. That's never a problem. That's not... I mean, that's easy later on in editing. So, I mean, seeing that you can always mute the audio later, and in Premiere, actually, you can just choose the video, and you don't have to drag the audio down into your workflow and your work space. So, just record audio. It's so much simpler, and if you're working on like a music video or something that you know exactly where the music's going to go, then, especially for a music video where, things had to sync up to the singer, his mouth moving and stuff like that. You don't want it to seem like a Chinese movie. So definitely record audio in your camera, and then record audio separately if you need to. If you're planning on using audio from on set, I just record audio no matter what. It's just simpler, and it doesn't really affect the amount of space that file takes. So basically, it's not like a bigger file because you're recording audio. It's the same size file almost. So it's just worth it to record audio. And if you're going to replace it later on, don't worry about it. So if you're talking or something like that, don't worry about it then. You're going to replace it later. Just like with a lot of movies or something like that, they'll actually say on set, you'll hear the director saying, little bit more emotion, a little bit more emotion off camera. And in the end product, you never hear that because they muted that entire audio track that from being on location, and they added a background score to the entire scene. So that's actually really good to record audio no matter what. Next question: What are good mics? What are good mics for a price under $200? There's a lot of great mics under $200, and it depends on what you're trying to do, I think. But ones that I use all the time are the Samson CO2 cardioid microphones. I know they're cardioid and they're not shotguns. I know that, okay? There's shotgun mics that are just as good, about the same size and about the same price, but these are $120, $130 for two of them, and they're a great little pack. When I originally bought them, I bought them for my audio division, which, you know, when we're doing like a choir concert, we want to put these in front of the entire choir, and it amplifies the whole choir sound. That's what they're made for, and they're made for like over top of drum sets. And if you've ever seen a live concert with mics over top of drum sets that come down like this on the drum set, then that's what they're made for. But we actually use them all the time for the show because, hey, they're just as good as they're actually like classified as mini shotgun mics without being a shotgun. So they're great little mics. They require fan and power, but they're only $120, $130 for a set of two of them. So can't beat the price. But I would say other great mics would have to be, man, there's a lot of great mics under that price point here. I would say there's wireless lapel mics under $200 that are really good from Sennheiser. So, you know, a lot of people think lapel mics or wireless handheld mics are $600 or some of that, and there's really good ones underneath $200. And I bought my handheld Sennheiser at $200, so that's a really great deal. And that same Sennheiser pack had the option of, rather than the handheld one, I can go with the lapel mic. So $200, you can buy that from a Sennheiser, or you can buy these for $120, $130, and they're great buys. So that's our questions for today. If you'd like your question read on the show, please email them to questions@mhnews.info. You can also comment below on Facebook or YouTube, or private message me on Facebook, or see me in real life for all of those great questions, and they'll certainly make the show. Don't forget, this Wednesday, our new demo reel comes out right here on our YouTube channel. You can also see it on our Vimeo channel and on MattHaslamProductions.com by clicking on video and film link right on the homepage. It's a fantastic demo reel, and it's a big premiere for us, so definitely check it out. We're going to be talking about it last week and this week, different techniques for making a demo reel, so check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and have a good one, people. See us back here every Monday and Thursday. Bye.